Pick Television, the new face of black. We have a wonderful author spotlight. It's a chance for you to get your book or publication seen by over 60 million subscribers on Roku television. We're the new face of black television. Pick TV on Roku. Welcome to the new face of being in the black. Pick Television. Welcome to the importance and power of reading. I'm Michelle, the computer lady, your host. During some awful dark times in America, black people were denied the ability to read, to learn how to read, to write, or to even own books. And that has hampered our communities up until this day. Now we're going to have important conversations about the importance and power of reading. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's new segment. I have an amazing and outstanding young man, Mr. Julian Gordon, and he's joining us today on the importance and power of reading. Julian, thank you so much for coming on. Can you tell everybody a little bit more about you, what you do, and how reading makes you happy?
Yes, thank you so much for having me on, Miss Michelle. My name is Julian Gordon. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I have been in Atlanta my whole life, minus my time up in North Carolina at North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride. And I'm 29 years old. I've been doing a lot. My parents have kept me in a lot of different disciplines. I've been in sports, I've been in arts and crafts, media, drumming, business. I've been doing a lot. So I try to incorporate my skills and bring in a lot of different talents and ways that we can uplift the community and be positive and be one with each other.
That is absolutely amazing. Now, Julian, you said you went to AT&T in North Carolina. I got family up there. We're going to say hi to everybody, to the fam. Also, let's talk about some of the other things you do, like for your business.
Yes, yes. So I started out in business with landscaping. My father actually owns a landscaping company, and my uncle owns a landscaping company. So I was always able to do landscaping and cut grass and go on out there, make some money, go talk to the customers, and actually learn how to do proper business. So I've been able to learn a lot of skills and been able to get out there and sometimes get dirty and go through the trenches, what they say, and have your bootstraps on and go ahead and get out there and get in the mud. So I've transitioned into doing more things with the mind. So I've been in school for atmospheric science and meteorology. So now I've gotten into drone work. So I've focused my atmospheric efforts and understanding that drones are a technology of the future that we can use. And of course, like I said at the beginning, I love incorporating all of the different skills and talents that I have. So I actually try to incorporate my drumming and the drone work that I do. So I actually teach a program with an organization called the Black Achievement Fund and actually teach a program called Drums and Drones. So I am incorporating atmospheric science, music and video production, environmental justice, and entrepreneurship. So I've been able to incorporate a lot of things. One of the things that I'd love to mention on my entrepreneurial route, I've been able to work on custom skateboards. So I enjoy putting my art out for people and actually incorporating the graphic arts and doing custom skateboards for people.
That is absolutely astonishing. Wow, you do so many wonderful and creative things. Now, we're going to get back to the atmospheric science part because you know I love STEM, but I have a question to ask. Did you like reading as a child? Did you struggle? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Right. So the big thing about reading for me as a child was understanding a different a different way of saying the words in my head. It wasn't so much sitting down. I didn't mind sitting down and actually reading because you can imagine things, and there were a lot of ways that we can learn as we read. But for me, one of the biggest things that really kept me reading strong was changing the words in my head so that it sounded cooler in my head, and actually having different characters in the book being different sounds. So I was changing my tone, changing the pitch, changing volume, and making things exciting when they had an exclamation mark, or asking questions when there was a question mark, having a direct stop at a period. So I was able to practice my vocal variety and actually gain more confidence speaking, especially when we had to read through the whole class. And I was able to actually enjoy reading through saying the words out loud. That was something that
Okay.
really brought me joy.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, do you remember when you started reading?
Yeah, so in elementary school, I remember reading books a lot more. I remember the main books I was reading. For some reason, it seemed like I enjoyed some of the mystery books. The even Brer Rabbit is somewhat of a mystery book, but Brer Rabbit series, the Magic School Bus series. Um, I've also enjoyed the Guinness Book of World Records. That was really cool. And I think the reason why I like some of those books is because I was able to imagine more things. As soon as they start the story, there's always excitement going on. There's always adventure. So I've always been an adventurous person, and enjoyed excitement. So I think some of those mystery books were pretty good for me, and also even my parents, when they were reading books to us, I think it was real good when we were younger and being in elementary school. Just remember around 7, 8, maybe, actually reading more books that that were interesting to me. Oh, and astronomy books were really important too, because I was able to look at the galaxies and look at the stars, and actually imagine those actually being up there and saying, "Whoa, that's such a huge galaxy! Like those are light years away." So my imagination just really picked up with those types of books.
That is absolutely awesome and stunning. Now, what is your favorite book as a child? What's your favorite picture book or child book? Do you remember or do you have a favorite?
Favorite child book for me had to have been the Schoolhouse series, the not school bus, the tree house. That's what it was. The tree house, where they were basically the mystery books, but had action packed. Every single book had so many different stories and so many different places that they went. And I love how they incorporated the world view going in different places all around the world. So I think the Treehouse storybooks were very impactful for me.
That is amazing. Now, who do you say is your greatest influencer when it came to reading? Mom, dad, grandma, the village, or some mentor who modeled this activity that made you fall in love with reading?
Yeah, so I would have to say my mother. My mom is an educator herself, so she was big on reading and education. She actually taught at Georgia State University where we had our pre-K when I was young. So I was doing pre-K at Georgia State, and remember mom would always read to us, and if it's bedtime or one of the weekends, more early morning waking up, and or even if we're out out at a park. You know, we might read at a park or something, and enjoy the outdoors and just read a book. And she would read to us, and she would always have encyclopedias on the bookshelves, and actually have books that are instilled in my mind. You know, have those books that are instilled in my mind, and her reading, and then she'll change the words up to put my name in the book. You know, like Jesus loves Julian, yes I know, for the Bible tells me so. You know, like just
I
have,
love it.
yeah, certain songs and certain books that actually made it more fun to incorporate the learning process. So I think my mother is one of the biggest influences. I will say one more thing. She was the library assistant at my elementary school for like 3 or 4 years. And of course, if you act up or do anything bad, then the teachers automatically, oh, I'm going to your mother. Right. So I think that a proper relationship with your teachers and parents, I think that's very important, and combining your parents power of reading, I think, is very important in your development.
Well, I love it. Julian, that is absolutely awesome. And as you know, this time kind of flies. We got to pay some bills around here. We're going to go to a commercial break and we're going to be right back with the importance and power of reading. Everybody, stay tuned.
Since 1877, Jackson State University has been training students for a life of service and leadership to impact our global society. Ranked among the best HBCUs in the country, Jackson State University offers 47 undergraduate, 37 master's, 1 specialist, and 13 doctoral degree programs. Whether you're interested in the arts, education, public health, the sciences, or business, we're here to take you from ready to JSU ready. Visit jsums.edu and apply today.
Are you a company, business, or service that believes in social responsibility? Would you like to make a positive impact? You can. You can sponsor this program and be seen by 2 million viewers on the PIC TV network. Call 770-367-1268 for more information today. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Importance and Power of Reading. I have an amazing guest on right now, Julian Gordon, and his parents has spurred his love of reading. His mother is an educator, and she was also the library assistant when he was going to school, which made him a super reader. And guess what? He's into the atmospheric sciences, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go down in this interview. Now, Julian, as a professional in your life, how has reading helped you become successful in the things that you do? Would you share that with everybody today?
Definitely, reading is very important in the professional world. there's so many instructions that you must follow to the T. Also, as a physicist and a scientist, you cannot leave certain principles up in the air. You really have to be conscious and precise and accurate in all of your understandings of the problem. You cannot look at a physics problem and say, "Oh, gravity doesn't matter." It's important that you read read everything that's there and also look in between the lines and see what they're not telling you. There's issues that are happening in the world, right? So if I'm given a problem and given an issue, I need to know exactly what forces are at play. So I believe in a holistic approach. Physics has taught me to look at all different forces and look at the entire system. So I see that as reading. I see that fundamentally, my mom always said reading is fundamental. So I always see that as something that's fundamental. And when we were doing certain things that may include instructions, and of course you want to not read the instructions or skip over certain steps, but you can't do that. You can't take a math problem and do division before you do your subtraction and addition. You got to go through certain steps. You got to follow that PEMDAS order, parentheses, go through each step. But that's something that I've that I've been able to garner and actually use those tools. I will say also that's more on a technical side, but even in social aspects, you must be able to actually read what someone has told you. If I need to be somewhere 10 minutes in advance, I need to read that, and I need to actually fulfill that discipline and actually be there 10 minutes in advance ready. And there may be a certain parking spot that I need to park at, but I didn't read it, so and then I'm stuck with my tires screeching and in some mud. So I believe that reading on a business level is very important. With all the aspects that I've done, music, the video production, there are certain key points that must be done as a musician, as a videographer, as an environmental justice activist. You must be on top of the facts and actually know what you're saying. And entrepreneurship, one of the big things is communication. So reading is all communication. Whatever the author wanted you to learn and read, then they expected you to actually read it and actually comprehend and understand. And if you have any questions, then you let that kn- must allow that to be known as soon as possible.
Oh,
So
absolutely. I totally agree. As somebody that's in the computer world, there are certain steps that you have to go through, and reading the directions is one of the things. I'll tell you a story. My father was in the military, Navy, 27 years. And he told me, he said, "Little girl, I know you're really smart, but I'm going to tell you a couple of things that you need to know that's going to get you through this life. Your ability to read and follow directions step by step is going to take you a long way." It's like, I know I'm not a very educated man, but I've been around the world twice. I've been in several wars, and I've gotten home because I had the ability to follow directions. I had the ability to read and to understand. As your mother says, reading is fundamental, but comprehension is essential. Now, Julian, What are you reading these days? What's your book that you're reading right now that's got you captivated?
Well, I'll start out with our Black Achievement Fund book, since that's been the book that I've been reading the most. It's called the ISIS Papers. So I've been able to learn from Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. I've been able to learn a lot about what Black people have had to go through, and I enjoy that holistic approach as saying, oh, look at the sports industry, look at the beauty and cosmetic industry, look at education, look at business. We're able to really see so many different industries and so many different ways that Black people all around the world have been put down. So I've been learning a lot about the Black liberation struggle. As an environmental justice activist, I was able to understand that you must have a holistic approach, and you must look at the entire system, look at all the forces in the entire system. So I think that is something that's big for me, is learning history through a lens that is truthful, and also something that is impact oh, excuse me, impactful in my genealogy. So the ISIS Papers is number one. One of the big books that I've been reading is, they call it the business Bible. It's Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He's encompassed so many different skills and tactics, and I believe there's some things that have to do with the law of attraction. I believe that there's things that have to do with the Bible, just ancient writings, and even like I was talking about the Black liberation struggle, even Egyptian and Black history is in Think and Grow Rich, because all of education came from Africa and came from colored people. But the big thing about Think and Grow Rich is that I'm able to put in my mind these seeds that are able to foster giant plants and giant harvests, where I can memorize certain phrases and say them every morning and say, I know I have the ability to achieve my definite chief aim in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent and consistent action toward its attainment, and I hereby promise to render such action. So there's even more that I could recite and have been working with, and I think that it really incorporates your subconscious mind to work hard and have those things in the back of your head of saying, I can do this. I live in abundance. I'm able to attract the things that I want to attract. So, speaking of that, Project 369, I found that in a YouTube ad, actually. And Project 369, it says the key to the universe. And I like how they have a lot of different entries that have affirmations, and then you write out your affirmations and write out, how are you feeling, what are you thankful for. So I'm able to actually learn a lot, because every single day I'm looking at a new affirmation, I'm looking at new attraction laws, and heaven on earth. I'm looking at new things that we might not talk about as much, but as a physicist, I really like the way they incorporated all of the values that we should understand, angel numbers, signs from the universe, and and frequencies that we should live in. So vibration and the electromagnetic frequency of keeping up that energy frequency, keeping up those vibrations of positivity. So one of the things that I enjoy a lot is that they incorporate a lot of numerology and numbers. So there's ways that it's telling you exactly how the 3, the 6, and the 9 are very important. Having the numbers, doubling numbers. So I think that is something big for me because I've always been into that scientific and understanding that there's more out here than just us on Earth, just this one planet. I think that there's a lot more to life and believe in a spiritual aspect. So, of course, things like the Bible, you learn more of that spiritual aspect of life, that there's more to life and there's more than that we should be understanding. So I really like how they incorporated all of these things. And last but not least, as an atmospheric science, I gotta mention Eloquent Science, Practical Guide to Becoming a Better Writer, Speaker, and Atmospheric Scientist, David Schultz. So I got this at the American Meteorological Society's annual conference. So it really lets me remember the times that I'm going to conferences and I'm met the author of this book, and I'm meeting directors and meeting certain people. So I really want to be a better writer and speaker. So that's one of the big reasons why I joined Toastmasters. Toastmasters International has been helping me with my speech and uh, of course, writing and speaking goes hand in hand, which I mentioned at the beginning, how influential the speaking aspect of what I was reading really helped me instill and connect those two together. So those are the books that I'm reading right now. I actually have a lot. I have a whole bookshelf full of books. So over time, I've been able to actually pick them up, and if I want to focus on a certain thing, focus on some science, some earth sciences, focus on the astronomy. If I want to look at how to do just about everything A to Z, I have a book like that, and I've been able to incorporate all these different holistic approaches, learning different disciplines.
That is amazing. Now, I read the ISIS papers over 30 years ago as a young person in college. I love that book. I still have a copy. My sister gave it to me. Then Think and Grow Rich, of course. I'm in business, I'm an entrepreneur. But 369, I'm gonna have to get that. And we're gonna have to talk about the meteorology book because I'm always interested in the sciences. And the fact that Al Roker is one of our favorite meteorologists, he's amazing. And that's some amazing stuff that you're doing right now.
Thank you.
Stupendous. Now, of course, time goes by fast. We got to take another commercial break. And we're going to be right back with my guest, Julian Gordon, on the importance and power of reading. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Michelle the Computer Lady, author and children's book publisher of the Mommy Readers Collection series of books. Well, we know how important it is for us to read, but we also know how important our public hospitals are. We're here in Atlanta. My public hospital is Grady. They saved my life. And I would like to give back, and I need your help to do so. I've created a new fundraiser called Building Towards Our Future. And what's going to happen is we're going to make sure
you and I together, that Grady keeps on serving the marginalized, the poor, and the indigent in the Atlanta metro area. All right, stay tuned for more announcements. I'm going to be telling you how real soon. Thank you for joining me in this fight to make sure that we can live with Grady.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle, the Computer Lady. Welcome back to the Importance of Power Reading. And I've been talking with Julian Gordon. He's been giving us some dynamic books to read. Julian, thank you for that. We talked about the ISIS paper, Project 369, Think and Grow Rich. And you talked about a book on atmospheric sciences. That is absolutely awesome and outstanding. Now, I've got a couple of other questions for you, especially because you don't have any children, you're not married, you're young and single, right?
Correct.
So you may or may not be in touch with it, but as somebody that's in the social justice circle and somebody that's that advocacy, what do you think about how our kids are doing in reading, our adolescents, our adults? What do you think the state of literacy is? And if it's not good, what can we do to make it better?
Right. So, although I do not have any kids of my own, I actually am helping out with an after school program at Westminster Schools and here in Atlanta. And I've been able to see good things and things that we could improve on. I think some of the good things is that we're able to see advancement with children at a rapid pace. I think that technology and there's a lot of different supplemental ways that we can learn and gain knowledge. So I think that there's a lot of advancement with children. You know, having like you say, the computer lady, you know, the computers are very important right now. So having seeing these children reading code scripts and reading coding and reading these almost physics problems and reading things that you would think, man, I didn't get that until college, and they're getting it in elementary school, so I think some of these advancements is real good in our reading, but that has a downside to it with the technology too, because it's harder to stay focused. I've definitely seen our children have a harder time staying focused. So I think for a longer period of time, it's a little bit more difficult for the children to sit down and actually kind of still the mind and body and actually read for even an hour, but I think ways that we can improve on that is giving them different options. If you don't want to read a nonfiction book, try reading a fiction book. I definitely suggest reading more nonfiction books. I suggest reading more uplifting educational materials. But I think just getting your child going, if you're having a slower time seeing your child progress, just start out in small increments. Start out with a fiction book. Start out reading just a couple of pages each night. Have a disciplined schedule and say, okay, let me go ahead and read to you this night, and then on the second night you read to me, and we go back and forth. I read to you, you read to me. I think that would help out a lot. And having these books that are fostering some challenge, I think challenge is important, because I believe that as a challenged person, pearls are made through pressure and diamonds are made through pressure. You have to go through hurdles, you have to have some time constraints, you have to have certain things that keep you challenged, or else you're not going to grow. So, even working out, lifting weights, you gotta go off of that 10 pounds sometimes. You gotta add 15, gotta go to 20, see how much you can do. So gotta have some good stress is very good. So challenge your children to write more about the books that they're reading. Test their comprehension level, actually ask them questions, because I think that there's a disconnect with the school aspect of, I go to school and I do work and I'm forced to do what the teacher says. And then there's a disconnect between going home and playing with your friends, and there's not as much communication with your parents. So I think it would be real good to have that holistic approach at reading, just understand, oh, this is helping my physical health, my social health, my mental, my spiritual, my financial health. All of these things are being benefited as we develop our reading.
I love it. I love it. That's a great idea. Now, Julia, because we talked about the state of literacy with our kids, and I love the fact that you've given the parents some really cool ideas on how to keep their children engaged. Now, with that, we talked about STEM because you're in the sciences, and I am too. And we talk about STEM, and parents, for you guys that just joined us, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And we have our STEAMies out there that also includes art. STEM is now and in the future. What are some of the ways that we can incorporate STEM in our daily lives to get our kids more interested in reading and learning about STEM, Julian?
Right. So two things. One thing, the conferences. We do not give enough input. We don't give enough weight to the power of going to conferences and events and just going to workshops and certain things. I was in Boy Scouts growing up, so I was constantly in workshops and doing STEM related activities. But if you're not in a group like that, that's in an organized group, then you have to be in some type of organization. You have to be in some like-minded environments, some environments that are fostering the happy, healthy, and wealthy communities that we want to instill. So I think that we should tell our students, apply for conferences. I've gone all around the world just from from being in conferences. So, going to Puerto Rico for hurricane research, going to Botswana, Africa for geophysics research, all the way to Colorado and Seattle for atmospheric science. I think that we don't show how it can be fun being in technical aspects. But the second part that I was thinking about is incorporating that. Let's incorporate how fun STEM really is and how fun we can achieve these solutions to our problems. Because over the summer, I actually taught in a Roblox camp, and Roblox, I'm still trying to find that balance between using video games, and they put in some of the violence and put in some things that should be carefully looked at if you want to have your children go through certain games. Then be mindful of what they're playing. But that's a real good way because they add in the coding aspect. So you can actually create your own games all from scratch through their coding platform. So I think it's very important to incorporate the fun things. That's actually why I created a skateboarding company in the first place. I was having fun skating, and me and my friends, we needed some skateboards. And instead of paying the amount of money for two skateboards, we could get 10 skateboards. So that's actually how that started. So, incorporating the fun, getting people into like-minded communities and building these relationships. And one of the big keys is, oh, you're somewhere where I want to be. I see you as someone, okay, I want to be just like the computer lady. And then let me go ahead and talk to Michelle, the computer lady, and actually learn from her and actually work with her and try to help her solve her problems. And then in the same token, I'm solving my problems, so it's interdependence, it's working together, is going on after that energy that brings fun, enrichment, and that's what STEAM is all about. The arts incorporating with STEM technology, engineering, math. I've been to a lot of camps and a lot of conferences. So those have really instilled that holistic approach and enjoying everything that I'm doing.
That is absolutely astonishing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I got one more question for you. How important is it for a child to have a dictionary? What do you think about children having dictionaries so when they come across words that they don't understand, they can look them up? And do you have one, and were you given one at an early age?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've had multiple dictionaries already, but I do have one of the older dictionaries on my bookshelf here too. So seeing it, I'm reminded of being a kid and actually looking through. Sometimes you're not even looking for a word. You just flip through and you just see all these hundreds of words and you're like, "What? How are there so many?" And you're looking at A's and just seeing, oh, A B AC AD. I think it's important that we realize that there's so much in our language that we don't even realize is there, and that we can actually pick up from these energies and pick up from these tools. So the dictionary is really important, and also an encyclopedia. The encyclopedias are very similar to dictionaries. How you have a lot of different entries, and you're able to look for something that's important to you and actually learn from it. My parents were able to have encyclopedias and dictionaries. So if we needed to learn something, my dad had auto mechanic books, so sometimes I may want to take a look at some of those books. And he's had bridge books about bridges and his civil engineering. So I think having these tools and resources at our disposal is very important, because you never know what might actually ring a bell and spark a light. You never know who can actually bring joy and fulfillment to you. So I'm not a big auto mechanic person, but just seeing some of these words and going through, and then I'll go to the dictionary, and just, yeah, a dictionary. It's essential. I, we wouldn't be able to get very far without actually explaining the roots of the words. Each piece is instructed. Etymology is something that I've been able to learn about a little bit, especially learning different languages. I have Spanish English dictionaries as well. So I'm also learning other languages, also an Italian English dictionary. I have other languages and a French English dictionary, I believe. So I have other languages. So I think that's very important too, because we're getting that holistic, that world view at our words, and using our speech and using communication to bring community and to bring fulfillment, knowledge. So yeah, it's very important.
That is, it just lights up my soul because when we connect our kids with all these wonderful tools in this reading journey, we make their lives better every day. Now, you talked a little bit about BAF. Can you explain to everybody what BAF is and what you do inside this organization?
Yeah, so it's the Black Achievement Fund. The Black Achievement Fund is a nonprofit organization. We're based in Atlanta, Georgia, in East Point, and we have a facility, a members only lounge now, where we are able to provide membership where we're able to provide a business space. We're able to provide a space for people to sit down and have conversations without feeling pressured, or without feeling like people are listening in and judging them. So it's a safe space for people to come in, have free water, free coffee, free tea. So everything that we have as assets, everything that we uh, come together and purchase, we all have collective ownership. So our big mission is to recycle Black wealth in Black communities. So we are in a big mission. We have 10,000 founding members that we're looking for. Right now, we have 3,000. So our goal is to have 10,000, but our overarching goal is to have 10 million Black people and our allies giving $9 a month, and you have over $1 billion in economic power over the year. So how what all can we do with $90 million in a year? We have so many different programs and services, so many different lanes that we can reach our departments, and have the game room and gaming and sports, the health and wellness, the arts and culture. So there's a lot of different things that we can tap into with Black Achievement Fund.
That is amazing. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you guys just bought land with some of the money that you raised. Is that correct?
Right, over about 150 people had over $60,000 raised for 6 acres in Georgia. It's in Toomsboro, real close to Milledgeville, a little bit near Macon, Georgia, and it's a nice chunk of land. I've been able to go out there last week and actually get some drone shots. So I was able to incorporate that aspect and actually have my environmental side and say, "Oh, look, yeah, what is behind those trees?" And oh, that slope does change a little bit. It does go down in slope just a little bit. So, you know, just mapping out, having what we want, just mapping out our dream. That's our dream. Have our own land, have our own retreat center. We would love to have campouts. We'd love to have events. We'd love to have people come by and do farming and agriculture. We'd love to incorporate certain STEM technologies and have a free space for us to test out our drones, and have free space to do automobiles in our transportation and logistics department. So I've been able to incorporate the Drums and Drones program with Black Achievement Fund. And one of the big things that led me on the route of drums and drones is just manifesting, just saying from the gut, just sitting down, breathing, and actually seeing what my dream world would be. Just talking it out with my mom. You know, she's a great visionary and support with organizational leadership. So she's actually helped me kind of speak it out and speak out what our dreams want to be. So Black Achievement Fund is really in parallel with my drums, drones, and dreams. You know, so I'm able to incorporate music and video production with them, environmental justice, the entrepreneurship. You know, we're able to grow our community and network. We're able to tackle so many different issues. We want to work on doing environmental audits and all kind of great things. The businesses are really important. So it's a great organization. Go ahead and join now. Is BAF.solutions. www.baf.solutions. Join now. We'd love to have you on board. We got something every day out the week as well. So on Mondays, we do book club where we're finishing up the ISIS papers now. On Wednesdays, we have Toastmasters. Thursdays are Atlanta leadership meetings. Fridays, we have edutainment Fridays where we learn something new and watch a movie. Saturdays, accountability fitness and Sankofa meditation. And we also have on Sundays the info session where we explain who we are and what we do, what we believe in, and also our monthly members meeting where we go over all the numbers. And one of the big things is that we can have whatever we want to have. It's just like the Black Wall Street. You know, right. The power of the mind is so important. Everything that we see in our physical world was first constructed in the mind. In somebody's mind, somebody laid out the streets, somebody laid out the electricity, somebody laid out how the road should be. So there are certain ways that we can work together and build our own cities. We can have our own police departments. We can have our own arts and culture. We can have our own technology. So just go ahead and join us. We'd love to have you on board. And I'm so glad to meet you through the Black Achievement Fund and so excited. This is what it's all about, just coming together, learning from each other and growing with each other. So
I love
I
it. I
appreciate
love
it.
it. That phenomenal, phenomenal. Julian, you have been absolutely astonishing. I have learned a lot from you today. You shared some great books. I want to take this time to thank you for coming on this show and blessing us and telling us about your journey on the importance and power of reading.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. This concludes another great show on the importance and power of reading. Now, coming up soon, we're going to have Pastor McMichaels. He's got a really great book out right now, Transforming the Mind of Men. If you see it, get it. I cannot wait for him to be on the show. It's going to be phenomenal. The book is phenomenal. Every day, take the time. You don't have to read a whole book. Read a few pages. Make sure you're modeling this for your kids. Make sure you have them involved. And that way, you can spur their success in the importance and power of reading. We'll see you next week. what's going on in our society, book banning, and over 38 million children don't have books in their homes. Join me for some exciting segments as we talk about the importance and power of reading with my guest on the PIC TV network, channel 1000.